I was taught that if I do all these things right, if I remain pure, if I serve, if I, then it will be golden. God was preparing me for that. I was coming to know Him because I would need to know Him come 2019. I just found out that it was the most aggressive and dangerous form of breast cancer. Outside, I immediately didn't say anything to my husband, and I stepped outside and I had this prayer. I remember I was staring up at the moon, and I had this prayer that felt, for the first time, just like total vulnerability and total detachment from control. I have nothing, and I have to handle it. It's a huge shift, and it's a scary one when you've been taught to worship the Bible. I think that we held the Bible was God. It was God in a physical form. And so I was to rely on it for everything.
Hi, Violet. Thanks for joining
Hi.
us.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you taking this time and being willing to share your
Yeah, of
story
course.
with
It's
us
hard
here
not to.
today. Okay. Okay, let's kick it off here with, let's say you need to be introduced, but rather than me introduce you, what
Okay.
I wanted to see if you would do is introduce yourself as if your mother was introducing Violet.
Okay. But do I talk like me?
No, you talk like your mom.
Oh, okay. So
Whatever
she
way
would
you
say,
want to do it.
"This
Whatever
is
way you
my
want.
girl. This is my girl, Violet. This is my girl. She's such a talented photographer, and she's such a good mom. She's a wonderful girl. Isn't she great?"
Oh, yes. Okay.
Something like that.
She likes you then, I take it.
Yeah, yeah. My mom likes me. That's good. That's good.
All right. Excellent. Well, thanks for playing along there.
Oh, I don't think I've ever done that before.
Yeah, okay. My mom's would probably be somewhat similar, except she would add, he really, though, should be a little more assertive and maybe some things
Your
like that.
introduction. He's great. I just wish he'd work on his assertiveness.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, that's
Oh,
about
wow.
it.
My
um,
goodness.
why don't we start by talking a little bit about I already found out, or we found out, that you are a mom and you're a photographer. But let's go back a little bit, if we can start there, to tell a little bit about your journey and I know this is really broad, what I'm asking you here, but just about your life and your perspective on life, maybe through those early years and kind of what's getting to where you are today. That's the goal here.
Yeah. Um, I think that growing up, I would have told you that I knew Jesus my whole life. That was the foundation of my life. That was the foundation of my reality. Um, and so I kind of navigated everything in my life and all my decisions based on the teachings of the Bible. And um, I would say that based on how early in life I learned a lot of elements of Old Testament parts of the Bible, I think somewhere along the lines, view of God became based in fear. I think I was taught often how much God loved me, but at the end of the day, it was still fear for me. So I kind of got through all of my childhood into my teens, got married when I was 21, still really like tightly held on to what I would now call kind of a fear-based religion. Um, and I carried that on through with me until probably my mid 20s. Um, I
Was there a
believed I,
particular event that you think triggered something for you?
yeah, yeah. I believed I had that relationship that everyone talks about. You know, you got to have this relationship with God, and you know God, and you do what He says. And I thought that the prayer life that I had was what they must all be talking about. Um, and so then when I was in my mid 20s, my friend group, we all had Bible study. And one of the people in our friend group, she started questioning a lot of the like kind of big things, you know,
Hmm.
like what it is to be a wife, you know, what it is to submit to your husband, what it is to um, love God above all others, and you know, just a lot of the like big concepts that we were taught as kids that were really like hammered home for me. And I was
Were you,
so,
I'm sorry to interrupt there.
no, you're
Were
good.
you guys in this, you said it was a Bible study? So
hmm
were you from the same church or not necessarily? Or,
No, we were all childhood friends for the most part, and then we
okay.
just caught people along the way.
Yeah.
The basis of our group was all kids that were in a youth group together that all got married young,
Okay.
and we stayed friends.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so it was mostly married couples that were all babies
Yes.
that got married as little children, and were trying to figure out life as children and we were married. So we had a Bible study, and I think it was such a good fellowship and community thing. It was exactly what we ought to be doing, which is, you know, getting together with people. But I think the Bible study element of it was just like, gotta be good, like gotta do the right thing. And I can't speak for everybody, but I would imagine at this point that's a little bit of how everyone in that group kind of felt. It was like we gotta do the thing. We gotta read the Bible and make sure that we're good, you know?
Yes.
But it was, yeah, I would say it was my mid 20s, maybe like closer to my late 20s when one of my friends started having all those big questions, and I felt like almost betrayed by it. Like, how could you second guess these things? It's so obvious. Like, we've been
Hmm.
taught these things since we were babies, practically. Like, you know, and
So that was your initial reaction to it.
yes, I was like very much pushback. What are you talking about? And I should preface by saying by now that she's very much heard my apology many times and we're close. Um, but yes, that was how that first happened. And I think before myself, my husband started having some bigger questions about, you know, the Bible being infallible and what that means. And um, I was honestly very upset with these people all around me that were turning lukewarm and crumbling and losing the
Yeah.
faith. And
What was it that upset you about that?
well, I think that it was fear. You know, being enraptured in a fear-based religion that teaches you that if you falter in your faith or that you don't love God, you know, or what loving God really is, that you could be damned potentially, you know. Um, there was a lot of fear of like if you do it, then you might influence this person to do it, and then they might fall away too, and then they might fall away too, and then the ripple affect all these
Hmm.
people that lose God, and not really grasping what even the concept of losing God is. Because I didn't really understand what that even meant, or really understand what it is to know God at that point in my life. Um, but there, yeah, I would say above all else, it was pure fear that was driving that anger.
Okay. So she's questioning. You're feeling this. You're getting some hints of it from your husband.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
now?
and
Or what
well, it's kind of
next?
a ripple effect. I think that around the time I had my daughter, my firstborn, I started asking myself big questions because becoming a parent changes things. You
Yes.
know, you start asking questions because all of a sudden you're responsible for someone else completely. And I was asking myself, like, am I comfortable with the idea of teaching her some of these stories that scarred me and really
Hmm.
terrified me, like absolutely caused deep, petrified, nightmarish, just a nightmarish childhood. I
Hmm.
don't think I'm comfortable with sharing that with her. But why? You know, if it's good and purely good, I should be comfortable sharing that. So there, it kind of was a ripple effect for me. What I was afraid of happening to them, my
Yes.
husband jokes, is he did little baby steps to like question, and then I took 2 steps and fell down the stairs, and I just went full through.
Wow. She
And
went
she was
head
95,
first.
yeah, 0 to 60. It was like a ripple of all these new questions, and I became a monster of deconstructing.
So what did that look like for you?
I felt like every year was a new big shocking revelation, was a new thing that helped me come to an understanding of what I was raised in and why I am and think and operate the way I do right now. And so there was a lot of healing from the fear, and I'm still doing that because it takes a long time to, really reevaluate all of these things and also to understand why your brain will take you to certain places when you hear something, why it's triggered the way it is. Um, so I would say from like 2016 to 2019, trying to heal from that fear and find out who God really is. Because I don't believe that my God is the God of fear and that I should be afraid of his judgment at all given moments in my life. Um, so it was 2019 when I'd say things went really, really quick and really started changing dramatically due to like some major life insanity that year.
During that those years 16 to 19, were you still in the Bible study or still attending church?
We were still doing the Bible study. I knew that one of the friend I'd mentioned that she was much more liberal leaning at this point, was much more, you know, worldly. Um, but we all still kind of, communed and would do Bible study a little less frequently. It was more like casual, more just hanging out. Um, yeah, but we stayed close. It just was different. And I knew that my friend, the one that had really started deconstructing sooner, she was much further on that journey than I was, and she was always so gracious with me. And I look back and I'm like, she had so much patience with me, so much endless patience.
How about the others in the group? I mean, did you feel some sort of pressure or concern with them?
For me, I think I kept it fairly quiet at this point. I don't think I really talked about a lot of the things that I was starting to question, research, study, because I was afraid of the judgment or, exactly what I did to other people, that they would be like suddenly very afraid. I didn't
Right.
share it really with family or anybody outside of Grant, my husband. Yeah.
So we're up to 2019.
Yes.
You're about ready to tumble down the steps, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah. At that point I had started to really unravel a lot of beliefs about what it is to be a wife, um, what it is to be a mother. But when I found out that my husband had been having like an emotional affair, um, it was that big shocking revelation of I did everything I was told to do to be a good wife. Like I did everything. I read the
Right.
books. I did it all. Well, I didn't deserve this. Like I was taught that if I do all these things right, if I remain pure, if I serve, if I fulfill, yeah, then it will be golden, you know?
Life was
Um,
telling you something else.
yeah. And I think that honestly, God was preparing me for that, like I was coming to know him because I would need to know him come 2019. And so, there was a night where I'd kicked my husband out, and I was laying in bed, wildly pregnant, by the way, with my second child, and I audibly said, I'm all alone. And I remember hearing and feeling very, very strong. I've always been here. And I immediately fell asleep. And I didn't think I was like 2 in the morning and I couldn't fall asleep. I was so upset. And it was, I've always been here. and then I fell asleep. And that was either the very first time that I felt the presence of God, or it had been a very long time since I had felt that kind of a presence in my life, that I had felt truly like there was someone and they were there and I felt every bit of it. And I think that I did have that feeling when I was a child from time to time, but it had been well over a decade or more
Yeah.
since I'd experienced it. So it was
Had you
very
shared
jarring.
had you shared those experiences earlier in life, that like with your parents or a friend or something? I mean, did you feel like those were normal? Those feelings that you were having, did it fit into the theology that you had?
Yes and no. I think I had had an experience when I was a kid, and this is the closest thing to it, where I was spending the night with a friend, and this is when I was about 14 or 15. I was spending the night with a friend, and we were in her basement. No one's home. We're just watching a movie, and I hear something upstairs, and I tell my friend, I'm like, "Did your dad get home? There's someone like I'm hearing footsteps." And she's like, "No, they're not supposed to be home for a while." And I was like, "Well, I'm gonna go upstairs and check." And then all of a sudden, I heard through my body is the best way I can express that. Sit down, don't worry about it. And I was young and it's full body chills. It always happens when I tell the story.
Yeah.
Full body chills.
Yeah.
Sit down, don't worry about
I'm
it.
f-
It,
I'm feeling them all the way through the internet here.
it was sit down, don't worry about it. And so I was like,
Wow.
okay. And suddenly I was so like chill. I wasn't phased. And I continued to listen to sounds. And I was just like, oh, it's nothing. It's her dad or someone, who knows. No, someone had broken into the house, and we later found out it was my friend's dad's um, mistress. She had broken into the house and she'd put a big knife on the wife's bedside to terrify her, because the affair came out right after that. We didn't know. Her mom came home a few hours later screaming at the top of her lungs, and we're like, and then we race up there and we see this just machete in the middle of her bed. And that was the first time that I could remember going, that was the voice of the Lord. That
Yeah.
must be what that is. That's what must be what people experience when the voice of the Lord just like comes over. He's like, no, don't
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. You know, the reason I asked you that question is because I'm going through that to an extent in my own life, and I think many people do, where their walk with the Lord reaches a certain point. I don't know if maturity is the right word, that then they can look back at events in their life and reinterpret, better see what was happening at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that's unusual at all.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing.
Yeah. It was definitely something that I was not expecting in that moment, and clearly wasn't something that happened to me often.
Right.
But
Right.
it stuck with me, and so that even when it happened again, that night in 2019, I remember it brought me back to that moment when I was 14.
Wow. So
Like it
you
was kind of almost
remember
like deja
then
vu.
even thinking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it was the same voice. I mean, I do believe it was the same voice.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. Okay, so
yeah.
sorry for the diversion there.
No, you're fine. You're fine. It's all good.
So
All good stuff.
we're 2019. You're like, where are you?
Yeah, like how did I fail you so hard that this is what I've got left over? And I did feel at peace that night, and I went to sleep. And fast forward a couple days later, I would preface by saying, and a lot of people know our story, my husband and I's story. Um, we did not have a good marriage up to that point. It was very much I did everything, kind of like marriage. It was respect your husband, but he doesn't do anything to like run the family. He's not doing anything to run the unit. Like I run the show and pretend that he's running it, I would
Yeah.
say. It was
Okay.
yeah, I was very much in that like must listen, do as you're told, but also he doesn't do anything, so I should just call the shots. Um, so I think I was wildly unhappy, but I hadn't faced it because what am I supposed to do with that? I'm not gonna get divorced. I can't do anything, so I'm just
So
gonna keep
it's
trying to be happy.
it sounds like what you're saying, and tell me if I'm wrong, is you knew you were unhappy, but later you didn't realize how unhappy you were. Is that
Yes. I didn't realize how bad it was until everything fell apart. And I was like, okay, everything you've been upset about, all the pent up things, they're all coming to the surface now because
okay?
this shouldn't have happened. And, you know, when I, when everything was found out, I basically laid it all out. It was like, I'm not doing anything about this. I'm not going to fix this. I'm not going to call the therapist for you. I'm not doing anything for you. If you want to do it, you be a big boy. You do it yourself. If you want to change, you do it yourself. If you want to fix it, you do it yourself. For the next like day or two, he was very much in denial of everything, lying still, and I saw through it. I knew about a lot of things throughout our marriage, but I decided to quiet that still small voice because submission and yeah, just keep the peace. Um, but then it was two days after that that he had his own encounter with a voice coming over his entire body and giving him full and total clarity for the first time ever of all of the things that are have gone wrong in our marriage. And he came over and started speaking to me, and at this point we really hadn't talked much, and I was like, I don't even recognize this person, and he's saying things that I've never heard him say. He's actually talking a little bit differently and his tone of voice is different. And then he started almost kind of speaking in a prophetic way about our future, but he was like, our future doesn't have to be you and I together. I'm not going to force you to be with me. I want to be a better man. I want to love well. I want to do what God has just put upon me today. Like he put this upon me today. I have clarity all of a sudden, and I don't want to ever go back. I don't ever go back to that ever again. And if you want to be with me, that would make me the happiest man alive. I will not tell you you need to be with me. I will not grovel because I want this for myself. I met God today. And it was kind of like you would expect anyone would go, yeah, sure. Okay. That's a really cute little sentiment. I love your poem. Um,
Hmm.
but I was there witnessing it and feeling it. I felt that like transfer of his energy and I I knew he wasn't lying. I had seen through his lies for years, but I knew he wasn't lying. And
You're obviously a very sensitive person because I can tell already from describing your childhood that you have sensitivities to the fear, to all kinds of things like that. So I assume you had learned to trust that gift
mhm.
that you had.
Yes, when I was a kid, I would have told you that I could tell when I was in a house that was haunted, but now I would tell you I can tell when I'm in a presence of some really bad energy, really, really
Hmm.
ugly energy. I can feel it in people. I can feel it when I'm near them, and I can feel it when I go in homes. But when I was a kid, I just thought I had a knack for, I thought I had
Yeah.
a knack God gave me, and I still think that that's the case. I just see it a little differently now. But
Yeah. It's another
yeah,
one of those, for instances, you look back now and
yeah,
things make a
yeah, and
little more sense.
it makes a lot more sense now. And words, my friend, she always says, words are containers for concepts. So a word is just,
Yes.
someone creates this word for it, another person creates this word for it. They may be very well the same thing. You're just viewing them a little differently, and
Yeah.
that's all there is to it. So I don't think necessarily Childhood Violet was wrong. It was just a perspective shift, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Yeah.
example that I always think of with that is Eckhart Tolle. Um, he shares that words are signposts. And if you have a signpost that a sign that says moon and it's pointing right to the moon, that doesn't mean that sign is the moon.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
That makes sense. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So did your husband say that this whatever this was that came upon him, I don't know what words he used to say that, was that invited or not invited by him?
I was not invited by him. He would have told you that he was at rock bottom and that he was in the most deep depths of despair in that moment, facing the very likely consequences of a divorce and separation from his child and all the many things that come along with that. And he's like, I'd never been so low in my entire life. And I had no internal desire to tell you all the truth of everything. That was not on my radar. This came upon me without my invitation. And when that clarity came over him, and he'll tell you that I know not everybody gets this just perfect clarity when they mess up and they just see it all. But he's like, I did. I did. I saw somehow all of it. And um, I now understand why that happened. I really do now understand why he was given that perfect clarity in 2019 because it plays a big role in the rest of my story.
Okay, let's get there.
Okay.
Thank you.
So,
Sorry I
yeah,
keep
no,
sending you down rabbit trails. They aren't
no,
really
it's
rabbit
okay.
trails at all.
It's all part of this crazy story. But yeah, fast forward, we've been, we're working on our marriage and COVID hits and my baby was born and we get a whole year where it's really like good, emotional intimacy because we have nothing else to do. And so we're just getting a lot of good conversations and we start seeing a lot of things in the political climate changing. And that's when deconstructing hits even harder. And we're really starting to dive deep into who God really is, who Jesus is and what Jesus calls us to be, um, a voice in the darkness. And fast forward 2021, I get pregnant unexpectedly with our third, very much to a point where I feel like I had a greater understanding of my view of the Bible and God, but I didn't feel perfect clarity about how to have that relationship with Him. Fully knowing the experiences I've had with Him, but not really knowing what that looked like relationally for me. Have my baby beginning of 2022, March 2022. And then when I was 5 weeks postpartum, I found out I had stage 3 breast cancer. And for a lot of people, most people, statistically, their husband leaves them with breast cancer. I think it's like over 70% of men leave during that treatment. Um, and I don't think that if we had gone through what we went through in 2019, he would have stayed. And he would even tell you that. He's like, I was not a man. I was not a man back then. I was a child. And if I hadn't received that wisdom from God and been able to start growing for the first time into what it is to be a man, I don't know what I was just a weak man. I wouldn't have been able to handle it.
Hmm.
'Cause it's a lot. Dealing with
Yeah.
breast cancer is a lot. I mean, any cancer. It's catastrophic. Your way of
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. And here you
So
are with two little ones and an infant.
yeah, yeah. Oh gosh, it was the craziest time in our lives, that's for sure. And if we hadn't gone through that in 2019, not only would he have left probably, but we wouldn't have had the the faith and the strength to endure something like that without completely falling apart. Um, I honestly don't know how you navigate cancer without some kind of internal belief that you can be okay, that you can be healed, that there's hope in something, you know, that there is something to look forward to, that there is a hope. Um, yeah. And then that's when the faith journey went like bonkers and everything
Okay.
started changing.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell me about that a
Um,
little bit.
okay, it's crazy. For anyone listening and watching, or I know this is gonna sound wild, but it is the truth, and there's hundreds of people that witnessed it. I that first week after I found out I had breast cancer, I was, a basket case, obviously, as anybody would be. And then I had this night where um I just found out that it was the most aggressive and dangerous form of breast cancer. After some more biopsies came back. So I stepped outside immediately. I didn't even say anything to my husband. And I stepped outside and I had this prayer. And I remember I was staring up at the moon and I had this prayer that felt for the first time just like total vulnerability and total detachment from control and just like I have nothing. I have nothing and I have to hand this over. Like I don't have any capacity to hold this. I don't. Like nobody can hold this. Nobody can be told because doctors literally say, "We'll do what we can for you. We're gonna try all we can." No one has the capacity to hold that, you know? And I was like, you take it. Take it. I can't. And it was after that that I got my first MRI and PET scan. And I had some moments of, I was trying to determine how much of this I was going to share, because it's a lot. It's a little crazy, but
Yeah.
I had
Whatever
some
you're comfortable
spiritual
with.
encounters. You know, I was talking to somebody recently. I've never shared, there's a handful of things that happened during that cancer journey that are so beyond wild and almost impossible to believe that I've been very cautious about sharing it
Oh, I
because it
understand.
feels so like, no, like a treasure.
Yes,
Yeah. And
that makes
so,
sense.
anyways, there was a few things that happened that were very much, I can best describe them as encounters with the spiritual realm, in a positive way that I felt that peace that passes all understanding. And I came home one day after spending the whole week telling everybody that I'm going to be healed. God's healing me. I know I'm going to be healed. Cancer's going away. Like, I'm not worried about this anymore. I was telling everybody. Came home and I was putting like frankincense on me because I was doing that all the time after finding out I had breast cancer. And I couldn't find the tumor. I'm like, the heck? I felt this tumor every day. Like, what the heck? It was big and it was gone. But then it had traveled into my lymph nodes. So it was up into my armpit as well. So in my armpit, there was lumps. So feeling in my armpit. But I don't even tell my husband because I'm like, oh, I don't know. But I'm just gonna wait till tomorrow and we'll see. Couldn't find it. So I asked him, like, can you find it? He's like, what's going on? I don't know. So we had a prayer night and everyone prayed over me. Like probably 75 people, friends and family came and prayed over me. I didn't tell everybody because I didn't want to give people false hope. I just kept telling them that God was healing me and that I knew I was going to be absolutely fine. He's given me full clarity of
Because you
that.
had been saying that before you even had that realization.
Correct. Yes. After I had that prayer, up looking at the sky, meditating, asking him to take it all. The day after that and on forward, I just kept telling everybody that this is what was going to happen. I was healing. This is cancer's going bye bye. I'm not letting this live in me. It has to go. And then, have encounters with inexplainable spiritual things. The tumor disappears. The cancer in my armpit disappears. I go in to see my oncologist, and she goes like this. What's going on? And I'm like, I told you God's healing me. I told you it was gonna go away. I told you. And she starts laughing, and my my husband's like, "Is this normal?" And she's like, "Never in my 45 years have I seen this." And I was like, "I told you, I'm just confident. I'm confident that I'm going to be healed of this. I'm confident." And she's like, "I can't find it. I can't find any of it." And so they ordered me an ultrasound, couldn't see it on the ultrasound. And because I had made a declarative statement at the beginning of all of this journey that I was going to do everything that I could do within my reason to fight this because I believe it is a fight. And I wanted God to bless my pursuit, that I would do what they told me to do. And they told me I needed to do chemo anyway. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it anyway. Because just a week ago, I had stage 3 breast cancer, the worst that they'd ever seen. So I'm like, even though you can't see it on ultrasound, I'm going to do the chemo. And whether that was necessary or not, I don't know. But I also knew that God is so good that He would have blessed anything I did in that. He
You
was
were
just
at
going to bless the
peace
whole.
with the whole
Yeah,
thing.
the whole thing was just totally blessed. So I did chemo for nearly 6 months and had a mastectomy. Um, and after the mastectomy, I had a tumor, they said, that was the size of a pinprick. And my husband was like, I wonder why any of it got left over. Like, why didn't he just take it all away? And I was like, well, I don't know for sure. Um, but after spending that whole year coming to understand what it is to believe and receive, as in, like, I believe I can heal. So I'm going to tell my body to heal, and that's what it's going to do. I was like, I don't know. Maybe that's that little bit of doubt I kept having every once in a while when I'd have a weepy day and be afraid, because I did. I had my weepy days. I had my moments of fear. I had a doctor say something and I get scared. I feel really, really bad from the chemo and I would get scared. And I'm like, maybe that's just what I didn't get rid of. Maybe that was that little bit of fear that I left over. And I know that that sounds like kind of like a not transactional, but like a judgment, or like he's like a punishment, but I don't view it that way because I don't view God as the giver of the tumor. I think he equipped me to have perfect love, and perfect love casts out all fear. And so if I had perfect love in that, then I would have gotten rid of it completely, potentially. In the same way that you can tell someone, this is how you do that thing, and then they don't follow your instructions. They're like, no, no, I got it. I got it. You're like, but you're doing it wrong. No, I got it. I got it. And they mess it up. It's not my fault that they got it wrong. And so I was like, there's nothing in me anymore. I would have been mad at God 5 years ago. I would, because I had a different perspective of what he is.
Right.
And now with this perspective of what I always said was that he's love. If he's really love, like if God is really love and he dwells in me, and all of creation cries out, what does that mean then? Is he this big boogie woogie man in the sky that's going to punish me if I have a moment of, a lack of faith? No, no, not at all. And I don't know, everything about who he is after all the encounters I had that are radical, um, multiple spiritual moments occurring for my friends and family, uh, it was impossible to doubt that experience, but also to ever go back to the relationship I thought I had with him before, where I was
Yeah.
afraid. And now I'm not afraid. It's quite the opposite. I no longer think poorly of myself. I think well of myself because he dwells in me. And like that's what I've always been told, but now I actually believe it.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
But it sounds like just a couple minutes ago, as you were saying, quoting some scripture there, you now see those same scriptures differently with a different light.
absolutely. Absolutely. I think that we were in some ways taught to take certain things literally and certain things not literally, to take things as some things as flowery, and then
Mm-hmm.
no, this is
Yeah.
perfectly literal and you need to be by the book on that one. So, now with new lenses, and even when I do read the Bible, I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense for the first time.
Yeah.
And or read stuff and I'm like, oh, I thought that was black and white. And now I'm like, nope, that's not black and white. Why
Yeah.
did I ever think it was?
Right.
Or
Right.
just to assume that, it's the final authority when I do believe Jesus Christ left and said, I'm giving you the Spirit. And so my final authority is the Spirit. And if the final authority is the Spirit, then that means I can receive that the final authority of what I should and shouldn't do myself, not from text. You know what I mean? If that makes
Yes.
sense, because we can't get any answer we
That
want from
that is a
text.
huge shift.
Yes, it's a huge shift. And it's a scary one when you've been taught to worship the Bible. Um, I think that we held the Bible was God. It was God in a physical form. And so I was to rely on it for everything. And to suddenly go, I can rely on myself because he's dwelling in me, because that kind of contradicts the whole worthless, you're nothing without Jesus. You
Right.
are just a sinful, hellbound whatever without him. That contradicts that. Suddenly I am important. Suddenly I am priceless. Suddenly I'm made in the likeness of God. What does that look like to navigate life? It's so different.
So tell me about how this impacts day-to-day life for you.
Well, since 2022, obviously everything about my faith shifted majorly. And after that, I was on the like, gotta learn everything about what I experienced and learn about all the things that I was afraid to before because I was too triggered by them. So, like for instance, a lot of the experiences I had spiritually would have spooked people maybe. Like genuinely might have spooked some Christians. But of course didn't spook me because it was perfect, perfect peace. And I'm like, I need to understand these experiences and I want to understand what spirituality really is. And so then it's just kind of been a rabbit hole of fun learning and learning wisdom from everyone. I want to hear the wisdom of everyone that seems worthwhile to listen to, instead of I'm only gonna hear what Paul had to say.
Yeah.
And knowing like children of God are everywhere trying to share their experiences and I want to hear them too and learn from them. And in 2024, I was driving down the road saying like I was thinking about God as love and what is love? And love is the driving force of all. All people love and animals are capable of love and all of creation cries out the glory of God. What does that really mean? Like, does that mean that other religions know God, or does it mean what all encompasses that? Because I'm trying to completely release the fear around my God. He has never given me fear since I've met him in more recent. Um, so what God was I serving back then? I don't know, but it was a very scary, fearful God. Um, and I had this weird moment of shift, and the best way I can describe it is a shift in my reality, where I felt like I kind of entered a different dimension for a moment. I'm sure it's probably how people feel when they get like high or whatever, where it's, but I had this moment where everything shifted. And I like remember just feeling overwhelmed with not only peace that I don't understand all this and clarity at the same point, and feeling like this all encompassing clarity of what God and the universe truly is, and feeling so overwhelmed with love. And that whole rest of that week, it was just breadcrumbs constantly being dropped on me, friends saying something, someone sending me a video, a song playing on the radio, random things that were just constantly reminding me of all that I had just experienced, where he is love. And
You were seeing it everywhere.
was seeing it everywhere. Literally, my daughter like found a book on the shelf. Did I tell you the story with the book on the shelf? So my daughter was like, I have a big bookshelf and I have a lot of antique books. And she's like, Mom, do you have a book about being a doctor? I want to be a doctor. I'm like, okay, I'm sure I've got a medical journal up here. I'll go look. And I pull one down, and right next to the medical journal is this book I'd never seen before, ever. And it was called The Magic Power of Your Mind. And I'm like, what the heck is this? So I pull it down. I open the book. And the very first thing in the middle is a woman who has cancer, who rebukes it, basically says, I will not have cancer. I'm not doing this. It's gone. Like, I'm telling it to leave. The same thing I did. The cancer was gone within that week. It was gone. Doctors couldn't understand. She was healed. Bada bing, bada boom. It's over. So then I'm crying, obviously, but I continue reading, and it's talking about who God is, that God is love, that God unites all mankind, that we are all one in Christ. And in the book, it refers to what we now call it Christ consciousness. I don't know if you've heard of the phrase Christ consciousness, but the whole concept of the book is what it is to be one in Christ consciousness and to tap into that true faith, the complete rejection of ego,
Yes.
and to just accept love in its truest form. Um, so that was really like life altering for me. That all happened within 1 week. And my life's never been the same. And
Wow.
I sometimes wonder, like, why didn't that happen while I was going through cancer or whatever? It was just a random like Tuesday driving my
Wow.
car. But, it's funny how life just goes sometimes.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
that's a great story. Um, and I don't know if I'll ever forget when you the just now when you said, I don't think life will ever be the same again, with the smile that you had. That felt like it just imprinted on me.
It's probably the greatest truth in my life. I, you have those experiences where you're like, I know what I felt.
Mm-hmm.
I know that happened. And if nobody can understand it, that's totally fine with me because I know the clarity I was given and the peace over not having clarity about everything. That was such a gift to just be like, it's okay that I can't understand this all, but gosh, what I can't understand. Oh, it's so amazing. So
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
So, what do you think about for the future, or do you?
Do sometimes sometimes it feels like a lot. Um that makes me wonder if I was given clarity for some kind of specific reason, or if it's just that everyone's eyes are opening slowly and that maybe soon all eyes will open or people will just like awaken
Right.
to this reality of love and what it truly is in its truest form. That it is God. And I guess I have my days where I'm like, does this mean I just keep doing what I'm doing and keep loving my people? But like also just when I feel that tug, I tell them. Like I was telling your daughter some of this at a random Christmas party. We got to
Yes.
talking about spirituality. I don't know. We were probably talking about like energy or I don't know. We are talking about astrology. I can't remember what it was.
Right.
And I was just like, oh, I guess I'm telling my story now. And it just felt right. So I've been doing that ever since. I'm like, I just feel like, oh, this is that moment where I can share and maybe they understand it. Maybe they've actually experienced this like awakening feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that's all I'm gonna do. I seriously can't count the number of people that have asked me to write a book, and I'm like, I just no, it feels like it just feels like it's so nestled. There's some of it that I just have a hard time even saying out loud. And I kind of want to keep it that way because I think it's more impactful um, to share, in this
Yeah.
format.
Yeah. But here we are recording this. You can, if you decide
I, you
afterwards you don't want this, we'll nix
know,
the whole thing.
the funny thing is that, if people listen and they're like, what a crazy lunatic, I'm like, oh,
I, for one, do
it's
not
fine.
think of you as a crazy lunatic.
Yes.
My testimony is to that and I don't even know if that's the right word to use. When I named this podcast The Light in All, I was using different words for exactly what you are saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it rings very true. And I think that as we do testify to how we are being changed and experiencing God, that
Hmm.
that is our mission.
Hmm.
And that's why
Hmm.
I'm doing this podcast. So
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
appreciate and I sense, it's just another one of those books pulled off the shelf that we're here today.
Yeah. You're one of many people that I probably should never have met, and they were just placed right in my life. I mean, just countless
Exactly.
people that would say what you said, that we are all connected
Yes,
by one light. There is a unification of all. And ever since that happened, I have met person after person after person that just understands.
that's
And
that's
it's a
super.
gift. It's a gift.
Yeah. I want to ask you one more question as we wrap
Yes.
up. How do you want to be remembered?
Funny you say this. And someone was talking about the recent, things that are going on in Minnesota, with ICE and whatever. And I remember, saying I want to be remembered for not being quiet. So I don't want to be quiet about the truth. And I just want to be remembered that I spoke up and I said the hard things out loud, whether it's we need to we need to protect people, or we need to love people, or what we're talking about today. I
Yeah.
don't want to hide it,
Or
and
even
I don't want to be known
take
for
that
being
risk
quiet.
that they're going to say, she's crazy or he's
You
crazy.
know, if you look at my Facebook page, you might already be able to tell. They're like, oh, she doesn't care if people don't like her.
Okay.
She just says it. I'll just say it. But yeah. So like when it comes to, politics or whatever, these things that if I see an injustice and I know this is what Jesus would have been standing up for, and he would have been saying, absolutely not. Like this is some kind of darkness. This is of the darkness. I'll say it too. I want to say it too because I don't want to be remembered as someone that just sat back and watched it all unfold. I'd rather be one of the bringers of life and light. I hope to awaken people to that. Um, but yeah, it's in the same breath, it's like these things that happened to me when I was going through cancer are. I'm gonna tell you when I'm done recording. They're so wild that it feels almost like too much to just share with the general public, to just like put a
Yeah.
Facebook
No,
post out there. It's almost like, I don't want someone trying to offer me movie rights. Like,
yeah,
no.
right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? Yeah.
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 I thought of one other question I would like to ask you.
Yeah.
My guess is there's going to be some women that might watch this at some point down the line that have gotten that diagnosis themselves. What do you have to say to them?
I would say that we have power over our own body, and that we have an ability to control what our body does and the health of our own body, and we have control of ourselves. So if you are telling your body, and that's part of my story, is that I was in a PET scan and I could feel the area where my cancer was like throbbing, and I spoke to it and I said, leave. You're not welcome. You will leave. I'm saying you're not permitted to stay. And I'm believing that today, that I have the authority to say, you have to get out. You're not of me and you have to leave. And it's harder to do it. But when you have that, I have no control. I have no ability to do anything about this on my own. I have to give this completely up to you. The ego is gone. Then it's easier to have that full faith. That sounds kind of backwards, but for whatever reason, I was able to suddenly have full faith that I could say, no, leave, get out.
So it's not as easy as just saying, get out.
No, and
It's a stance
it's
that,
a belief. Yeah. It is a true, firm, like people are crying in my face and I'm saying, no, no, I told it it's gonna leave. I told it it has to get out. It's a firm stance that you're willing to say that. And no, what if I'm wrong and I die? I could mess with people's faith, you know? Like
yeah.
that never crossed my mind. I didn't even perceive that as a possibility when I was telling people.
But my guess is you would not have done that and you wouldn't be giving this advice if you hadn't already had the looking at the moon experience. Is
And
that
I
correct?
yes, I would before that I was a
That's the
basket
first
case like
step.
anybody. Yeah. And I think it is kind of like the steps of mourning, you know, where you're angry and acceptance, and I can't remember the order of everything, but there's an order for how
Right.
people mourn. And once you get to that acceptance point, which I kind of think that's where I was at, I was able to go, I'm relinquishing control here. And I'm relinquishing control to God. And what is God? He is love. And what is love? It's in me. And so I'm telling it what to do. I'm just gonna tell it what to
Right.
do. Get out. Because that's not love. That's darkness. I don't need that. I think cancer is fear itself. I'm like, get out. And you know, I know that that could sound like I'm saying, well, you can just do that and everything will be fine. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that there's an excuse for children getting leukemia and babies having cancer at 6 months old. It's something I still struggle with. However, I'm no longer afraid of the concept of death. And so if my perspective is that I am in hell, this is hell, they're better off. So I got to stay, but I'm enduring hell here. And they got to they got to leave it.
So you don't doubt the goodness of God even in tragedy.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean we shouldn't be fighting death with every fiber of our being because we're supposed to be here and we can love people. But I do think that I don't think I was the winner. I don't think I got to win. I think that
Yes.
I got to stay.
And it may be different for others.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's it's not an easy mindset to get into though. I really, really understand that.
Well, Violet, I really appreciate you sharing with us
Yeah, of
today
course.
and keep keep sharing. I hope
I will.
this I hope this podcast is just one of those ways that might help spread that message.
I think so. I think there needs to be a lot of voices doing this, you know?
Yes.
I was so encouraged. I was so encouraged that you even asked me to do this and just like another voice.
All right. Well,
Love it.
thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
There's a light that was shining when the world began. Light and heart that is shining in a woman and man. There's a light that is shining in us, in them too. It's the light that is shining, friend, in me and in you. Walk in the light wherever you may be. Walk in the light wherever you may be. In my old leather breeches and my shaggy locks, I am walking in the glory of the light, said Fox. With a book and a steeple and a bell and a key, they would bind it forever, but they can't, said he. Oh, the book, it will perish and the steeple will fall, but the light will be shining at the end of it all. Walk in the light wherever you may be. Walk in the light wherever you may be. In my old leather breeches and my shaggy locks, I am walking in the glory said Fox. If we give you a pistol, will you fight for the Lord? But you can't kill the devil with a gun or a sword. Will you swear on the Bible? I will not, said he, for the truth is more holy than the book to me. Walk in the light wherever you may be. Walk in the light wherever you may be. In my old leather breeches and my shaggy locks, I am walking in the glory of the light, said Fox. There's an ocean of darkness, and I drown in the night, till I come through the darkness to the ocean of light. You can lock me in prison, but the light will be free, and I walk in the glory of the light, said he. Walk in the light wherever you may be. Walk in the light wherever you may be. In your old leather breeches and your shaggy locks, you enlightened and changed the world, George Fox.